Hello, everybody. This is Tiffany Brown with the Earn Your Wings tour here on the Speak Up and Inspire podcast. We are learning about Miss Dr. Shana. I keep wanting to say Miss, but when you have credentials before your name, then we need to make sure that we say those credentials. So Dr. Shana is with us tonight, and she is the first of many interviews that we are going to be doing with our partners and our sponsors throughout the year that have joined the tour to share their stories and their mission and their purpose with us. And so, Mr. Lord, y'all think forgive me. I've been in meetings all day. Please
It's
forgive me.
okay.
Please
It's
forgive me.
okay.
Dr. Shada is in New York, and she is on our New York team. And the New York team is going to be focusing on domestic violence and violence against men and women. And Dr. Shana is going to help us with coming up with a program since she has been advocating for women's rights when it comes to domestic violence. We want to put together a program that we can share with the world that will be specifically for male victims. So we are very, very excited about that partnership with her. And so the tour is all about sharing our stories of surviving some kind of crime. For me, I am a domestic violence survivor, a sexual assault survivor, and I'm a very, very big advocate when it comes to mental health. I am a two-time suicide survivor, attempt survivor. And so all of these causes are very, very important to me and the reason for the tour. So I really wanted to kick off these interviews with Dr. Shana because her book, Turning My Pain into Purpose, is what the tour is all about.
Absolutely.
It's what the tour is all about. So it's perfect. It's perfect to start off the tour interviewing our partner, Dr. Shana. So Dr. Shana, please tell us about you, your background, tell us about you.
Absolutely. So, first of all, I am a mother of two. I am a woman of many hats. I'm the author, the empowerer, the inspirator, the speaker, and the advocate for those that can't speak for themselves. I am the one that helps you unmask the situations that you're afraid to take the mask off for. I'm one to help you feel more comfortable in your skin after all that you've been through, to help you lay them cards right and just know that I am who I am and I am who I'm supposed to be.
Hmm. I love that. I love that. So are you a survivor and what have you survived?
I am a survivor. I had survived domestic violence. I've not one but two different domestic violence relationships. I am about, let me see, I think we're like 10 years now, actually.
Mhm.
And I don't actually call myself a survivor. I'm a thriver now.
Yes. Love that. I love that. I hear advocates say that as well. I'm a thriver. I'm a thriver. Tell me why. Tell me more.
A
Why?
lot of times we don't say survivor anymore because when you're sitting in the survivor stage, you're still trying to get out of your mindset of dealing with it.
Mhm.
Now I have excelled the part of just surviving it. I've thrived through it. I've worked through it and I've turned my pain into a purpose. My mission is now is to then go back and help the ones that don't know how to heal after trauma or how to turn their pain into purpose or being able to actually just open their mouth and say, I went through that.
Right.
I don't want them to feel shamed or judged because there was a moment after I came out of it, I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't tell anybody about it.
Right.
I suffered in silence.
Right.
And so at this point as a thriver, I'm now able to talk about it, be okay about it, and not shame about it and say, yeah, that happened to me, but I'm not there anymore. And I'm actually took it and made it a purpose of taking my scars and making a beautiful butterfly.
I love it. I love it so much. So turning my pain into purpose. What was the what was the catalyst for you getting out of your domestic violence relationship? What was the what broke the camel's back? What was it?
Oh, after you go through it so many times and you've hid the I'm sorries or it's not gonna happen no more or the apologies and learning that, you are enough. And why am I settling for this? And
Right.
to know that I had two daughters and they're looking at me. And that is not what I want for them. So
Right.
my thing is, how can I be a better mom? Because they're watching me. What can I do to help me understand that I matter? So I wasn't just doing it for me, and I wasn't just fighting for my life. I was fighting for my kids
Yeah.
entirely.
Yeah. I think for me, um, I was a mother at the time when I left my abusive marriage. And I remember he was yelling at me and I was trying to get out of the room, and the twins were about, I want to say maybe 2 months, 3 months old, and they were in the crib. And I remember, because we were at our bedroom door and I'm trying to get out the door and he's yelling and cussing and just being very aggressive. And I remember looking over to the twins standing in their crib staring at us, and I was like, I'm not, I don't ever want them to see this again.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it wasn't just that it took the children, because I was already planning, and we'll talk about that later. I was
Right.
already putting my safety plan in place. I was already putting money aside. I already had my own bank account that he wasn't aware of. I did those things very safely. So I was already preparing to leave. But that is what pushed me to say I have to leave sooner. Um, and so it took for the police to come to our house about 3 times. And the last time they came, they were like, "Are you ready to go?" And I said, "Yes." And they said, "Well, we're going to go in here. We're going to make him leave, and you do what you need to do." And I had a minivan at the time. I packed up as much as I could take, whatever fit in that minivan, and I left. I left anything I couldn't get in that van, and me and the kids, and we were gone.
Sometimes it's just that light bulb that clicks on, and it's like you gotta go. Like
Yeah.
enough is enough. Why
And I'm
am I
so
still
thankful
here?
for the officers, because that was the second time that the one officer had been to my
Mm,
home, and was very compassionate, and was very, you could tell that she was sincere, or that they were
yeah,
sincere, because they were saying, they were partners, and both of them basically said at the same time, "You ready to leave?" So but not everybody gets that when the
no,
police come to their door. They don't.
nope.
So
No. It's interesting. Like I've you know I've had moments to where is I had a restraining order, and I
mm,
still was getting texts and phone calls and all
mm,
these things, and I'm like, with the restraining order there is no contact. So
exactly.
why am I getting messages? And I had a cop literally tell me, "Well, why don't you just change your phone number? Why do I have to change my phone number
Mm-hmm.
on account that
Connected
the
to my
person
businesses.
right on the account that the person's not doing what they're supposed to do by law?"
Right. Right.
So, like you said, no, not everybody gets it.
Right. And if you change your phone number, if they're determined to find you, they're going to find you.
Right.
So,
Absolutely. So what happened was another incident happened, and I went to a whole and it happened in a different area.
hmm,
So talking to a different set of police department and crime victims, it became a different situation, and
different.
they took it a lot seriouser.
Hmm,
And then it just was like, okay, so I had two different experience with it as
hmm,
far as with police. And I think it just depends on the mindset of the cop, and
yeah.
like you said, more compassionate and
Hmm,
understanding, because when I took the situation to the other police station, they got arrested because
right.
by law they were supposed to.
Exactly. Exactly. And they weren't taking it lightly.
No.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, so many women have to get killed
Right.
before something takes place. I know of several victims who lost their lives after just leaving the police department within 24 hours trying to get help. And the next day, or within 24 hours,
They're dead.
they're dead. Yeah. And so the police need to be held accountable too for the way they
Right.
react.
Right. They should. It should be a lot more serious, especially like if, because a lot of times with them, if they don't see the bruises and the hurt and some scratches or something
Hmm.
physically done to you, to them it's, oh, but it's a lot more to that abuse.
Hmm.
It's the verbal, the emotional, the physical,
Mhm.
it's spiritual. Like it's so many
Mhm.
different stages of it. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening.
Exactly. 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 I know that one of our partners on the tour, Kashonda Thorpe, she is advocating about financial abuse, and because no one talks about that. No one talks
Right.
about the fact that your abuser won't let you get a job, or the fact that they take every paycheck that you get, or that they control all of the money and the finances in the house, and so forth and so on. You don't hear about that.
What is so true. So when I used to go working with one of the shelters out here, through Unity House, I
Hmm.
remember a lady saying to me, she's like, "Oh, she's like, I kind of want to go back because of the kids. I don't have money." And
Hmm.
in my head, I asked her, "What's more important, the money
Mm.
or your life
Mm.
or your child's life?"
Exactly.
I said, "You can eventually get more money, but eventually can't make another you or make
Exactly.
another kid." So, I had to get her to look at her
Hmm.
mindset like that. I understand financially, no, it's not
Hmm.
you're
Hmm.
not in the right position,
Hmm.
but as you go through this storm, it'll get better.
Yeah. 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 And they say that the number one reason why women, and it's usually women in this instance, don't leave their abusers is because of they don't want to be homeless.
Mhm.
And they've been so isolated from their family and their friends and so forth that usually by the time they're leaving, they don't really have anyone to call or feel like they can call or trust to
Right.
call.
Right.
Because they've probably cried wolf so many times.
And people will be like, "Oh, I'm not helping no more."
Exactly. And then, and so the fear of being homeless or not having anywhere to go, and then they stay. And then the
Yeah,
next thing you know,
they're
they're
dead.
no longer here.
Mhm.
So we have to make sure that there's a safe pathway out when they're ready to leave.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Martha said that was me. I wanted my kids to have both parents, and it was also material things. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. She said she was scared to start over.
A lot of people are, and that's kind of what I teach when I go in and do the workshops about not having the fear of starting over, because sometimes new beginning is scary.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to change and become a better you, sometimes you have to let the old you die and begin a new version of you.
Mm-hmm. That's why I like the symbolism behind the butterfly, because you literally are coming out of that cocoon a new person
Absolutely.
as a thriver.
Yes, absolutely.
We have a question. What compelled you to become an advocate?
Well, after going through two different situations, and as I went through the situations of going through domestic violence and going to the shelter and being like working my program, I seen a lot of ladies that were still angry,
Mm,
frustrated. They still was holding on to the pain. And I'm like, I don't want to be like that. I
mm.
don't want to still hold on to that. So what
Be
can I
bitter.
do different? Yeah, I don't want to be better. I like to be happy. I want to continue to
Right.
be happy.
Hmm.
Yes, life threw me some cards. Yes,
Hmm.
somebody did some messed up things to me. And
Hmm.
yes, I was a part of it because I allowed it to happen and I was in that relationship. But what can I do different to help me and the other people?
Mm,
So advocacy was the next journey of, okay, let me help someone see how they can smile on the other side because I've done it. Let me be able to show someone that if you talk about it, you can heal through it. Let
mm,
me help people know that everything that is your trauma, you can grow through it. So
hmm,
it was necessary for me not to see bitter people or bitter women. I want them to be happy. I want them to understand that yes, you have trauma. Yes, you
hmm.
went through it, but you can heal through it, grow through it, and become a better version of you. It can be your glow up after your grow up.
Right. Right. I love that. That's powerful. Um, I wanted to uh, go to your book for a moment. First off, it's a beautiful, beautiful book.
Thank you.
So I have the blur on here because I have stuff in my background. But turning my pain into purpose. Look at that cover. It's beautiful. Can you hold that up again, Dr. Sheena? It's beautiful. Um, so the one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is um, the what was it? embracing the storm, embracing the storm. Um, you spoke about that in your, or Miss Dr. Daphne Soares. She, um, I believe, contributed that, embracing the storm, and it was really touching to read. And then I was reading The Power of Walking in Your Purpose, and then I saw some overcoming obstacles as a young adult, riding the waves of grief to joy and victory. I mean, there is so many. You can tell the power of redemption. You can tell that these are all powerful stories. So, how many authors contributed?
Actually, in this one, 38 beautiful souls contribute into this book.
Wow, wow. 38.
38.
Whew, that's a lot of stories, but
It is.
all of the stories give you encouragement, motivation, support, and all of that. Um, in the beginning of the book, you wrote a message of strength, growth, and healing, and you said that you wanted everyone to know that within your lies an incredible well of strength, resilience, and purpose. Um, why did you choose those words? Strength, resilience, and purpose.
Because, as you take that pain into purpose, one, you have to be very resilient to take your pain and make it into a purpose of someone else's. A lot of times I use the word dope and I use it as an acronym, dedicated to other people empowerment. Because the thing about it is, I'm here to make you resilient. I'm here to strengthen you, and I'm here to help you walk into that purpose. My goal is to help people to learn that let me become the best version of myself, regardless of the pain I've been through, regardless of the things I had to deal with, regardless of what my past might have looked like. But I am resilient through it. The storm might be there, but it's not going to be there forever. I
Mm-hmm.
need to be able to empowering people. So those were very powerful words for me
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
it packed a punch.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Um, I also liked where you said that trust that every experience, every struggle, and every triumph is molding you into the person you're meant to be. Um, I was on a phone call earlier, and I was basically saying something pretty similar. Is that, you know I was talking to survivors that are also artists, and I was about to say, well, thank you for being survivors, or thank you for being survivors, and I hesitated, and I said, you know what? No, thank you for being survivors. you know, thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for writing your songs. Thank you for, doing your poetry. Thank you for painting your portraits. Thank you, because if it wasn't for you doing those things and expressing yourself and speaking up and inspiring others, then there would be so many people that would be lost, that there would be so many more victims, there would be so many people that wouldn't have the resources and the services that they need if it wasn't for survivors like you and I. So that's not to laud over the fact that, oh, we've gone through something.
Right.
No, it's the fact that we've come through something,
Something.
and we want to help someone with our stories. We are hoping that through our stories we will help at least one person not go through the same thing that we went through. And then if they do, unfortunately, then they know that there are different paths and resources and just so many people out here that have been through what you've been through, but they're not going to know about it if we don't talk about it.
Absolutely.
And so, yes, thank you for being a
Yes.
survivor.
Listen, it's crazy. 6 years later, now when I wrote my very first book, The
Mhm,
Mask Behind the Mask, I didn't think I'd be right here
mhm,
doing all the things I was gonna do. Cause
mhm,
literally writing that was just poetry to get through the situation. It
mhm,
was something to comfort me.
mhm,
And as I walked through it, like I have a thing with the number three. So as I was writing these poetries and I was going to therapy, I remember sharing it with my therapist. And my therapist asked me, it was like, oh, well, why won't you create a book? I'm like, what are you talking about? Now I'm not gonna do that.
Mhm.
But as I continued to write and I shared it with my father, he asked me the same thing. And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying? I keep
Mhm.
hearing it, but I hear y'all. But
Mhm.
then when after my grandmama passed and someone else mentioned to me again, I said, all right, I hear it. I understand it. I get what the vision is coming through the
Mhm.
symbols. One thing is I hear it in three times. That means, all right, you're telling me what I need to do.
Mhm.
And I'm one that is here for with faith, and that means he was telling me that I needed to put it together because somebody else needed to hear what I was giving in the book.
Mhm.
So as I wrote that, it's like a whole nother vision came because okay, I put it together, but once I did that, all these other things started happening. I started like I got some. I was on the front of a newspaper. From that, some a news anchor seen me and wanted to do my story. So
Mhm.
the vision became greater than I ever
Mhm.
imagined.
Mhm. Mhm.
So from there, that's just where learning that this was my purpose and this was bigger than me. And a lot of people ask me, they be like, why do you share your story? I share it because honestly, it wasn't for me. I went through it, but it wasn't for me. It was actually for the people that are attached to it and for me to be able to help them pull them through it. So
Mhm.
unfortunately, yes, I went through it, but it really wasn't for me. It
Right.
was for the people that I need to speak to help them now. I
Mhm.
just had to go through it to be able to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And as a survivor, I'm sure all of us have said, why did I stay as long as I did? Or, what's wrong with me for being in this relationship for so long? Or, all of those things. And I really appreciate you saying earlier about, you know, we have to take accountability for our part,
Yeah,
not to say that we caused the abuse.
right,
That's not what no one is saying. But
right,
what we're saying is that you recognize the abuse at some point and you didn't do anything to leave that relationship at that
right.
time. You chose to stay.
Yep,
And that might have been before the threats started, the hitting
right.
started, so forth and so on. So now you get through the emotional and verbal and all that. And now they've hit you or they done pushed you down the steps, which was the case for me.
Or drag
And
you up the stairs, which was the
right,
case for me.
right. And it's just like, okay, all right. Now you have another choice.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have choices and
Right,
we do have to take accountability for the things that we stay in.
right.
And I think that's a huge piece, especially for domestic violence survivors, is it's not your fault.
Yeah, it's just taking accountability for the part that we stayed for, you know.
Exactly.
And one thing I had to learn going through this process of healing and growth is forgiveness. And
Mhm.
one main thing is I didn't forgive them for them. I forgave the
Yeah,
situation for myself so that
exactly.
I can heal to be able to thrive to my next level. Because I didn't want to
Exactly.
be angry. I didn't want to be miserable. I didn't want to be frustrated. I didn't want that to be able to rent room in my head. I did not want
Exactly.
that to stagnate me to be the better version of me. So I
Mhm.
had to take the steps of forgiveness, healing, growth, and finding my peace for me, not for anybody else but me.
Yes. Yes. All that.
All that.
All that. Okay. So, um, then it looks like I think I had another question. Let me see. So there was a statement, and I wanted to make sure that we went back to it. Um, I'm assuming this was about when we spoke about why women don't leave because they're afraid of homelessness. And Shonda said shelters can be scary and especially hard for mothers with a few children. And that's so true.
It is.
And shelters are not safe either.
Right.
So you risk going from an abusive relationship, an abusive home, to possibly getting robbed or sexually assaulted or something like that, depending on the shelters that you're in. And that's scary,
Yeah.
especially with children.
Right.
So when it comes to that, what would you say to someone who is sitting at home right now watching this? Because people are watching.
Yeah.
and they're scared and they just like, man, I don't have nowhere to go. What kind of feedback can you give for someone that is feeling like that right now?
Well, I can definitely say to you, I know it can be scary, but one thing for sure is some shelters, well, I can only talk for the one that's up here.
Mhm. Mhm.
They actually give you your own room. Like you have rooms. Like it's not,
Mm.
and the ones that like the programs that are up here, they are women shelters. So it's not
Mm.
other people in it. So it just depends on, you
Well, that's
know,
nice.
the shelters that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
But if you're scared, uh maybe find a family member that you can stay with, you
Right.
know,
Mhm.
or find a shelter that is more private to where it's comfortable for you and your kids.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
as you go through trying to set yourself up to leave,
Mhm.
talk to because see, like the one I can't only talk about the services here, but they had case managers.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, talk to your case manager and let her know how you're feeling. Communicate the situation of I'm scared because I may feel that the situation of the shelter is like this.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because I know some shelters up there, they've even put them in hotels. So that's why I said it depends on the shelters and the that
Yeah.
and how their access is at different states. I
Mhm.
can only speak for the ones up here.
Right.
So it just depends. But don't let that be the reason why you don't leave, because then I don't want that to be the reason why you die.
Exactly. That yeah. Let's say that again.
Don't make that be the reason why you don't leave, because I don't want to be that the reason why you die.
Exactly.
It has to
Exactly.
be it has to be faith over fear.
Yes. And especially if you have children, you never know because the abuser, if they're not abusing your children physically yet, then the possibility of them doing so is great.
Absolutely.
And so, even if it's not you, you don't want your children to be killed
Right.
because, you know, you didn't take that step to try to leave safely. And I keep saying safely. We
Safely.
don't, yeah, we don't want you to be in the middle of a fight
Right.
or something's going on and you just take no.
Safely.
Safely.
Make a plan.
Yes.
Start discussing it with people to help with the plan. Because we don't have all the answers. But if you're not talking to anyone about it, or, finding a safe haven about it, because they have a 1-800 number.
Mm-hmm.
They have, because I know when you go to well, not saying, but sometimes at the hospital or your doctor's office,
Mm-hmm.
they ask you these questions.
Mm-hmm. They do.
So, these questions are being asked. So make sure, I understand it can be scary.
Yeah.
But sometimes let your faith be your guidance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't
Definitely.
let fear block your life.
Yeah. And it's so much um that goes into leaving
Mhm.
that doing it in the middle of the crisis is never a good idea
Right.
because it's the most volatile at that point and the most deadly at that point.
Yeah, because they're
So
gonna chase you and follow you and know
exactly.
exactly where you going and all those et cetera. Yeah, you have to plan it out well, actually. Because
Yeah,
I left while the person wasn't in the house either. Like it was
right.
totally no one in the house, and I left
Mm-hmm.
with the kids. Just left,
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah,
poof,
yeah, yeah.
disappeared.
Yeah. Safety planning is very, very important. If you are in a domestic violence relationship and you want to get out of that relationship, safety planning is so important. I just dropped a link in the comments to share what a safety plan is and how to develop a safety plan. And it doesn't have to be months.
No.
It doesn't have to, it can be literally a 24, 48-hour turnaround of you just waiting for the storm to calm, for that person to not be present, maybe going to work, maybe to going to the grocery store, somewhere that you know that you're going to have some time. Be putting money aside in an account separately. Have you a little to go bag.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, have a to go bag for you and your kids ready. Like, have it ready so that when the opportunity arises for you to leave safely, you are ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
So if you need support with that, you can reach out to myself or Dr. Shana or anybody on the Earn Your Wings tour, and we will help you with safety planning. It is possible, and it doesn't have to take a long time. You can do it. I do know that we have a partner in Texas, Miss Doctor, I believe Umeki Harmon, and she does rescue. So for people that are are in domestic violence relationships that are, uh, you know, dangerous. And unfortunately, they do not have, well, no, let me take that back. That is part of the safety plan, is knowing that there's an organization or there's a service that can get you out. So
Mm-hmm.
she provides that service. She has a task force. She has, a whole team that will go and help get that person out of that environment. So I'm
Now,
actually going to.
question: With that, does they have to be in that state, or is it anywhere in the world?
So, from what I understand, they are based in Texas and they do the surrounding states. However, she said that they do travel to help victims. She did say that. So, I am going to say that yes, they will travel to help victims, because she's told me that, that she has, and they will. And they have funding behind them, and law enforcement behind them, and so I just tagged her as well if y'all are interested in those
That's good to
services.
know, because just in case, if I ever get a phone
Mhm.
call, like I gotta
Mhm.
ask, just in
Oh
case, it might
yeah.
be somebody up here that might need to learn
Yeah.
something.
Yep,
That's
and
good
I'll
to know.
connect you with her too. And we plan to get her an interview for her soon, because I think that what she's doing for victims is something that is really needed. And it's something that I actually have thought about, but I'm like, where am I going to get
Right.
these tough people to go out here and get these women out of the houses and all that kind of stuff? So
Right.
she was brave enough to do it, and she's doing it successfully, and she's got a lot of support. So
Amazing,
um,
amazing.
yeah, I tagged her in the comments if y'all want to learn more about that. So let me see. I think we had another questions. Someone was agreeing with you that sometimes we go through things that we do for somebody else. And I really think that that's what the turning my pain into purpose really does, is that you're able to see all of these people sharing their stories. You said 38, right?
Yep, 38 in this book.
Okay,
Because
38, sharing
because
their
because
stories.
volume 2 will be out in May.
Oh my. And how many authors are in that?
That one has 22.
Okay, nice, nice. Yeah, so I can't wait for the next Turning My Pain into Purpose book that will be coming out. And if you want to hear stories of strength and resiliency and purpose, then I highly, highly recommend you getting Turning My Pain into Purpose. We do have it on our platform for the Earn Your Wings tour, and all of the proceeds from getting it off of our platform goes back into the tour, and also to Dr. Shana for her traveling with the tour, and her purpose as well, because we're not just asking partners to support us, we want to support her as well, and our partners as well that are going on this journey with us. So you're in New York, correct?
Yes. Yes, I'm in upstate New York.
Okay. So what do you feel in New York when it comes to crime is the biggest issue? I'm gonna say other than domestic violence. What do you feel is the biggest issue in New York when it comes to
Mm.
crime?
Next thing I guess is gun violence. That'll
Yeah.
be the next major thing that tends that in between, the sex trafficking. Between those
Mm.
two.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. And we are doing human trafficking in the for the Maryland part of the tour. Going to Prince Frederick, Suitland, Washington, D.C., and Baltimore. Their campaign is going to be human trafficking. So we know that that is a big, big, and especially in a city, or a
Mhm.
city in a state as big as New York.
Absolutely. It
Yeah.
is.
And with
Because
so many different cultures and just
mhm.
so many people migrating there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, they actually just did a sex trafficking bust in a county not long ago, like the
Mhm.
other day. It was in the newspaper, so
And what was going on?
they actually found a sex trafficking ring that
Oh,
they yeah, it was like from babies to like younger, like older kids. So
oh
it was
my,
like so I'm guessing they were selling the babies plus sex trafficking the kids.
right. And you said it was the next city over?
Yeah, well,
Next
like
county?
the town,
Mm-hmm.
literally I could drive to the town over. Mhm.
Oh man, that's
Yeah.
close. That's close to
Yeah.
home.
That's why my kids be in the house.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A parent the other day was saying, I just wish that my daughter would go out and hang out with her friends and da da da. I said, be glad that she is home and she wants to be.
Right. Right.
There is too much going on out here, so let that baby stay home.
Right. And then, I guess if you could say in the school for the kids, it'd be bullying.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That'll be another major thing. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of kids tend to, want to do suicide because they're getting bullied at school.
Yep. Yep. And we'll be covering gun violence and bullying in Virginia.
And
So that.
I have a children's book that's called Owen and the Bullies.
Oh, I don't think I did. So tell us
I
about
do.
that. I don't think I did.
So, so Owen and the Bullies is actually a children's book that
Okay.
me and my daughters did, and
Oh,
we
nice.
decided to put that together. This is
Uh
the
huh.
cover. It's called Owen and Bullies.
Okay.
And it's about Owen who, he stutters in school and it's this kid named Sean that's picking on him,
Uh huh.
about him stuttering. And
Uh
in the
huh.
book his mom tells him that, it's nothing wrong with you and you're very unique. So,
Right.
you know, don't let anybody tell you that,
Right.
it's something wrong with you. That something's wrong with you
Uh-huh.
because of your hair or that you're studying.
Right.
So he decided to be friends with other kids that were getting picked on.
Mm-hmm.
And
I am so
then,
sorry,
no, you're fine.
Shana. I cannot find the thing to turn it off. I'm so sorry. I want everybody to be able to hear you.
No, you're fine.
Oh goodness. Y'all, see, this is why you don't get a new phone. And you know what? I'm just gonna turn it off. I'm turning it off. Turn it off. I'm so sorry. And now it's not shutting down. There we go.
It's okay. So,
You
Owen and the
know,
Bullies,
it's not.
I'm gonna start over and just kind of go back from the
Please,
beginning. It's
please,
fine.
please.
So, Owen and the Bullies about Owen, who was a kid that stuttered, and he has these favorite shoes that he likes to wear, and his mom, parts his hair a certain way, and the kids used to pick on him because he stuttered. He was very nervous in front of the kids to do speeches. So, his mom told him because he was sad one day, and his mom told him he was like, Owen, there's nothing wrong with you, you're
Mhm.
perfectly fine who as who you are. And he
Right.
learned that his bullies was being mean, it was nothing bad that he did. So his mom told him to start being friends with the other kids that was being bullied. So in the story he started being friends with the other kids and they created this thing called the strong squad. So any kid that was being bullied, they would go and friend them so that they don't feel like they're awkward or out of place.
I
So
love
at
that.
at the end of the book, they even friend the bully. And the bully asked was like, why would you friend, ask me to play and be
Mhm.
friends with me because I was mean to you? And he said everybody deserves a second chance. So at the end of the book, everybody became friends and he realized that, hey, I'm wonderful and love who I am. And we're all gonna be friends and it's okay for me to be who I am. So that's why it's called Owen and the Bullies.
How did I not know about this book, ma'am?
I don't know.
I
But yes.
love that. Okay, so can we put the Owen and the Bullies and on the tour because
Absolutely. Yeah.
we're going to Virginia?
I'll
Yeah.
send you some copies of it.
Okay, yeah, because we're
Yep,
going to
I'll send you
Virginia.
a free
We're going to be
copy and then
focusing.
I'll send you some but
Okay, yeah,
absolutely.
would
Yep,
love to
see the
connect
cover?
you. I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, does the boy represent anyone in y'all's life?
Nope, it was
No.
just
Okay.
because okay, so if we go back to my first book, right?
Okay.
So my other children's book, listen, I'm a busy woman,
I
but
see.
let me
I
find
see.
it. So the very first book that I wrote with my kids was called The Power in Me.
Okay.
So
Okay.
with that book, I wrote it coming out of, COVID. And it
Okay.
was like a way of inspiring the kids that listen, regardless of what you've been through, where you come from, how you look. You can
Mhm.
be whatever you want to be, and the
Right.
power is within you. Your
Right.
special power is knowing and understanding that it's okay for you to be you, love who you are, and
Mhm.
you could be
Mhm.
the president of the United States. You can
Right.
be the lawyer, the doctor, whatever, but you got to just
Right.
know that it comes within you to do the work. You know that you're enough, know that you're beautiful, know that you just have to love you and you
I
could be
love it.
whatever you want to be.
I
So
love
from that book, I ask my kids like, all right, what book do you want to do next? So I give them the type, hey, what do you want to do? And
right.
they said,
Right.
let's do bullying. So I chose to call it, we just came up with the name Owen. It wasn't nobody in particular. That's just the
I
name. And it was
love
about bullying.
that.
So the next book actually that we're working with, they wanted to do peer pressure.
Okay.
So that's going to be the next segment of our children's book because the thing about
Okay.
it is, our focus is about things that are happening, you know.
Right.
And
Right.
my thing is, in school, I want to be able to plant these seeds in the kids. One, I want to tell them that they're great. Two, I want to tell them that there's nothing wrong with them being, being who they are. So anybody that's bullying you, that means that they're doing something wrong. So I don't want you to change who you are.
Exactly.
Because the last event that I did, I went to an after school program and
Mhm.
my focus is going in there, reading the book, and then asking them, hey, by the hand, by raising your hand, how many kids are being bullied? Because honestly, a lot of them probably don't talk about it.
Right.
So I want to give them a voice to express that,
Right.
yes, I went through this. And then
Right.
after that, I have them say an affirmation word to encourage them that you're great, you're brave, you're strong.
Mhm.
Don't let
Mhm.
nobody else make you feel that you're less than.
Mhm. Mhm. I
So,
love that. I love that. Well, I definitely would love to get Owen and the bully on the. Is it Owen and
it's,
bully or Owen
yep,
and the bully?
Owen and bullies.
Okay. Would love to have that on the tour because we are gonna. That's the focus for Virginia is gun violence and bullying, and so I'm gonna connect you with the Virginia team because I think that we should have your book there. Like that should be a highlight of the
Absolutely.
event,
You
one of
know
the
I'm here
events
for
at
it.
least.
I'm
Yeah.
here for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Okay. So. This is great. This is great. All right. So, what do you have going on right now? What do you have going on?
Whew, listen now.
You know, you got
It's
another
like
book coming
misery
out.
coming. Yes, so we have the Turn My Pain to Purpose Volume 2 coming out. But I
Okay.
also am working on my own personal book.
Okay.
So we have Beyond the Scars, the
Okay.
Resilient Wings coming out. That is what I'm working on now, which is about my domestic violence story.
Okay. Okay.
The thing with that book is I want people to understand beyond the scars,
Mhm.
you can be the best version of you,
Oh yeah.
you know.
Okay.
And then I'm going to work on the project about talking about my chronic illness because there's so many people that don't look like what they're dealing with on a daily.
Oh
So
yeah.
I want them to understand that regardless of the conditions you might been dealt, you have the strength to be resilient underneath all of that. And
Mhm.
I'm a pure version of what you can do
Right.
regardless of the diagnosis doctors give you,
Right.
and that also goes back to turning your pain into purpose.
Right.
But on top of that, every other month I do a domestic violence awareness forum
Okay.
where
Yeah.
I allow people to, speak their story and share, it's a safe haven for people to talk, ask questions, be able to express what they're dealing with or someone they know may be dealing with something, learn the red
Mhm.
flags and just get educated on a lot of things.
Right.
I have my Rise and Thrive Healing and Growth retreat, women's retreat that is happening June 14th at the State Bridge Hotel in Albany, New York.
Mhm.
I'm speaking actually Saturday on a podcast.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I have my magazine that comes out every month,
Yep.
which is
I do. Tell
Unmasking
us about your
Motivation.
magazine.
So Unmasking Motivation magazine is a safe haven for people to be able to share their voice, speak out about their business, being able to share who they are, and being able to let the world know that my words matter. They, giving their space a voice to say, hey, and shout it from the rooftops. I
Mhm.
am here. Many times as independent authors, it's hard to market ourselves or
Mhm.
to get ourselves in front of people. So
Mhm.
why not be the calluses? My thing was, let me create my own table. I
Mhm.
decided to create the magazine, create the podcast, create the brand,
Mhm.
help people unmask all the things of the best version of them.
Mhm. Mhm.
and give them the space to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that you are writing books with your kids. How do they feel? Well, let me ask you this: the abuse that you went through, was that with your children's father?
The first one. The
Okay.
first one was with my kid's father, and
Hmm.
the second one was me,
Hmm.
thinking I was healed,
Hmm.
not talking about it,
Right.
not going to therapy,
Hmm.
going back into the repeated cycle.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So, how do your girls feel about you sharing your story, which is partly their story? And so, how do they feel about that?
They are so proud. Like they tell me every day, Mom, I'm so proud of you. Like it be random moments. We'll be walking. They be like, Oh my
Hmm.
God, Mom, you're helping so many people.
Yeah.
Because every event that I do,
Hmm.
every podcast I do,
Hmm.
every book signing I go to, they're there. When I
Yeah.
do my interviews, they're a part of the journey.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, to them it's like, wow, Mom,
Yeah.
you're doing amazing things. And they tell me all the time, they're like, Mom, I'm so proud of you. Like,
Yeah.
you're doing it to help others and I'm proud of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
like super proud.
Yeah. And do you get what I get from my kids? Every time somebody needs something among their friends, they come to you because you're the one that knows everything.
Hmm.
You know all
Hmm.
the resources, you know all the
Hmm.
services.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, but I appreciate that our children appreciate what we're doing and that they understand what we're doing and that they're there. But then also that they're learning how to advocate for themselves and other people. And I'm sure your girls do the same. If they see something ain't right
They
or
say
somebody's
something.
going through something, they gonna
Hmm.
speak up. They gonna
Yep.
speak up.
Yep, I
And
remember one of my matter of fact, my youngest telling me about a friend of hers that
mhm,
wasn't feeling like herself, and she wanted to. She was
mhm,
thinking that her friend wanted to commit suicide. So yeah,
mhm,
she's definitely learning how to see the signs and
yeah,
help people through their trauma or
yeah,
trials or the things
yeah,
that they're dealing with. Because
yeah.
especially at that age, we do go through a lot as young people because you don't know what's going on in their home. So I tell my kids all the time,
Mhm,
if you see something's not right, just kind of let your friend know that, hey, I'm here. If it's
right.
anything I can help with, anything I can say, I'm
Mhm.
here for it. So
Right, right. Yeah. When it comes to youth, are you seeing in New York or the area that you're in, are you seeing a lot of domestic and intimate partner violence among teens?
it varies, and that's another thing. Like when I go into the schools, I have the conversation of like, it's a harsh topic, so I don't talk like I don't go full detail,
Hmm.
but as far as just letting them know that they're enough so that planting that seed to let them know that even if you're going through something in a relationship, they can know that they're enough. Because,
Hmm.
like, a lot of times when I go in the classroom, I make them say affirmations or I
Hmm.
make them talk about, things that they love so that they
Hmm.
can start loving on themselves through
Right,
those conversations.
right, right,
Because
right.
especially as younger girls, a lot of times we start not feeling like we're beautiful or we always finding some, you know what I'm saying? You know how we go through those
Yeah,
adolescent stage.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so I just definitely want to pour into them and be able, and that's kind of what the power of me is about. Being able
Mhm.
to pour into them early so that they can know that if it's something happening, it's not okay.
Right, right. Yeah. Well, that's one thing. I'm glad to see that domestic violence is not something that people don't know about. Unfortunately, we know that a lot of reason why it's been brought to awareness is because it's some celebrity out there who has done something that's been going on every day.
Hmm.
But it's
Right.
yeah, but it's brought its attention because it's a celebrity or someone that's very well known. Um, but so when it comes to, I know domestic violence, that's you advocate for that and against that, should I say? I always say against, not for, against domestic violence. What other causes are you passionate about?
Well, besides the chronic illness, it's about definitely empowering women to be the best version of us. Because a lot of times we wear a lot of hats and we
Mm-hmm.
forget about ourselves. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times we get beat up, you know, through life because life be lifing.
Yeah.
So I advocate for us to empower ourselves to speak up, you
Mm-hmm.
know, with racism, with all the things with anything that deals with us as far as women to just empower ourselves to be resilient through it
Mhm.
all. Because, especially in the workforce, for, the same type of pay or just being equal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
woman empowerment is top of my list
Yeah.
after advocacy for domestic violence.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that is great. That is great. I'm so excited to be able to have this moment with you, and that you are our first partner interview. But it was very purposeful. When I saw the cover of your book, which I've been following you for a while, but I don't know something caught my eye this particular day, and I'm just like, hmm, this would be a good start to our interviews, because that's what we're doing. We're turning our pain, we're turning our trauma, we're turning our past, our experiences into purpose, for it to have meaning. Um, and I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like this is the work that I'm supposed to be here doing.
I do.
Yeah,
Because, like my kids, you know how like when you go to work it feels draining?
yeah,
When I get up, I be ready because
yeah,
I feel that there's a purpose. Oh, it's time for me to give somebody some information. It's
yeah.
time for me to give an affirmation on that page. Let's say, because the
Hmm.
first thing I do, besides after my prayer and, make sure I'm okay and the kids is off to school, the next thing I'm doing is dropping the affirmation on my page because somebody might have need to
Yeah,
hear something that
yeah.
morning. So, like, even through my poetry album, the
Hmm.
video that was
Hmm.
shared
Hmm.
called Not Anymore, like,
Hmm.
that right there was my statement for people to say not anymore through the trauma you're dealing with, not
Hmm.
anymore through the things in life, not anymore to the things that are not respecting you. Be able
Right.
to set those boundaries, be able to stand up for who you are. So me waking up and doing this is
Yeah.
everything. I
Right.
listen, if I could do this, if this was what I was doing at the beginning,
Yeah.
listen,
Yeah.
I'm never tired. Like
Mhm.
this is what I
Mhm.
was born to do. This
Yeah.
this was for me.
Right. Right. I totally, totally understand that. And I totally, understand that, this is not this is not the work, that is light.
No,
It's not.
no.
It can be draining sometimes. It can be very
Yes.
demanding.
Yes.
It can be emotional.
Yes.
Sometimes you get the vicarious trauma because of listening for other people's stories, and then, you know, even as survivors or thrivers, sometimes we, might have people in our lives who are not supportive of us sharing our stories, because
That
our
too.
story some kind of way involves them, right? Especially if it's
Yeah.
family, your
Have
ex-husband.
you have you
Yeah.
got those things that, oh, you changed since
Yeah.
you wrote your book? I bet
Yeah,
I did.
right.
I grew up. I
Yeah.
grew up. That's what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to
Right.
change. We're
Right.
supposed to continue evolving. We're supposed to.
Or you think you better
Yeah.
now that you wrote a book. No, you just think I am though. But thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for your time tonight. I really appreciate you, and I know that we're going to be hearing a lot more from you. I'm really, really excited about your next book that's about to come, Turning My Pain into Purpose, the second volume. I'm looking forward to that.
Look forward.
And so would love to learn more about Unmasking Motivation magazine, because I would really, really love to get the tour in there so that we can share this great movement that we're on together. So I definitely would love to get some information on that. Tell everybody how they can find you on social media.
Absolutely. So if you want to find me on Facebook, it is Dr. Shana Gourdine, which is SHANAGOURDINE, because my name is spelled like Shayna, but it is
Yeah.
pronounced Sheena. If
Sheena.
you're looking,
Okay. Why did you correct me?
it's no worries
I've been
because
saying it
I'm used
multiple
to it. No,
times.
you're fine. You're
Okay. I'm
fine. This is
sorry.
nope.
Yeah.
I'm used to it. You're fine.
Okay.
I told my mother she cursed me for life because I've been correcting people all my life.
All your
So
life.
it is
All your
fine.
life.
It is perfectly fine. You
Yeah.
can find me on Instagram as the lady behind the mask 22. You can find me on TikTok as Sheena Author 22. And other than that, those are and LinkedIn is Sheena Master Motivation. And then on my website is www SheenaUnmaskingMotivation.com.
Unmaskingmotivation.com. Got it. All righty. I put the links up there in the comments, y'all. So y'all don't have no excuse for why y'all can't follow her and get in contact with her. But you can always check in with me as well. If you are not able to connect with her, I'll make sure that I connect you with her directly. She, as you can see, is an open book. So if you are in the New York area, and even if you're not, but if you're in the New York state, and you are in a domestic violence relationship, or you're out of one and you want to share your story, or you want to just be a part of the cause and the mission and the purpose, then please reach out to her. She will be there to help you and to support you and to just motivate you and empower you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you. Turn your pain into purpose with Dr. Sheena. With Dr. Sheena.
Listen, and if you're ready to write a book, I'm here to help you do that too.
Yes. I gotta talk to you about something. I got something to talk to you about. So
I'm here for it.
yes,
Be still.
yes. So I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for everybody that is watching. Please share this. This is really great conversation that can help a lot of people. So please share this interview. It's not just about us, it's about helping our community. Have a good night, everybody. Sheena, can you stay on for a second?